Okay, so I'm making another Mr. Beast video. Who would have thought? Am I right? This situation is so insane, so ludicrous, and it only gets more complex by the day. The reason I'm making this video is so that I can make a follow-up to the last video that I posted in regards to sort of defending Mr. Beast. And the reason why is because I want to admit that now, after doing a little bit more research, after looking into things a little bit more, and hearing an interview between Dogpack and oompaville, a very good video, by the way. I highly recommend you go watch that video before you even begin to watch this one. I sort of understand where Dogpack is coming from. At first, I thought that he was a disgruntled employee, and to a degree, I still believe that. I still personally don't like Dogpack because he seems very motivated and not in a good way, but he does make a lot of good points that really compel me to see things from his point of view, which is what I'm going to be covering today, sort of, but not really. The reason I'm making this video right now is because Mr. Beast isn't looking too good. He's getting himself into deeper and deeper waters with every single day that passes. Yesterday, Dogpack actually got hit with another cease and desist, which doesn't bode too well for Mr. Beast. So we're gonna get right into that. Apparently, Dogpack received another letter, and it goes as follows. Cease and desist, final warning. Dear Mr. Dogpack 404, this firm has recently been retained by Mr. Beast YouTube LLC, Mr. Beast or the company, and its founder, Jimmy Donaldson, regarding the unsettling news that you have embarked on a campaign to disparage Mr. Beast as a company and defame Jimmy Donaldson as an individual. Not only are your statements about Mr. Beast and Jimmy Donaldson untrue, they also violate the clear, binding, enforceable terms of your confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement with Mr. Beast dated March 25th, 2024, the NDA agreement which you have shown in the videos posted to the internet. As we can see here, we have Dogpack being a little snarky, which I personally don't agree with. I think that Dogpack should be handling this as maturely and as professionally as possible. But hey, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not gonna really put that past him right now. He's sort of the villain that everybody on the internet is rooting for. He's sort of like the Joker. Everybody wants him to win right now. So if he wants to be snarky and funny and get people on his side by being snarky and funny, I digress. He has all the privilege to do so. I sort of see that perspective from this point on. I mean, look at the tweet that he posted to even start this thread. New one, double it and give it to the next person. While I personally don't enjoy that meme anymore, I understand the humor behind it. Anyways, let's move on to what else he has to say. Also, my number got leaked, apparently from a Mr. Beast employee named Kaylee. I've been getting texts from the former Mr. Beast employees. Text I received last night claims that James wants to have private investigations start following me and looking into my family's social media accounts to find ways to discredit me. Apparently, the best narrative they have right now is that I'm a crazy drug-addicted Mr. Beast superfan that got fired for trying to steal company funds. I will say this much, Dogpack, while I have read some of your posts and I have gone back to look into some things you've had to say, if I'm going to be good faith and say that you were just making jokes and I understand that they were jokes, you also have to understand that some people can use those jokes as they're in text and don't have any tone of sarcasm. People can use these jokes against you very seriously, so you kind of brought that on yourself, which is why I said I would have rather preferred if you kept this more professionally instead of like coming off as a schizo. Further in this tweet, he goes on to say, if this text is true, I will say, Mr. Beast, if you want to resort to personal attacks, I'm happy to reciprocate, or, you know, just address the evidence. Again, I have to say that, Dogpack, if you want to come off as this grander-than-thou individual who has a lot of evidence against him, you should heavily refrain from stooping to very, very low levels. I mean, if you want to do so, I mean, go ahead, be everyone's guests, and make the situation a lot worse than what it is so that people can make content out of it, because ultimately, that's what's going to happen, and I'm pretty sure that's what you want. But again, in some of these cases, if you want to make claims like these, you should at least carry yourself in a way that more people are willing to agree with you. Dogpack then says, on drug use accusations. To be clear, because some people can't tell when I'm joking, I have never been a drug user. Weed makes me anxious. I tried microdosing shrooms for depression and anxiety for a week over 3 months ago. Honestly, the taste just made me sick, so I stopped. Wouldn't recommend anyone to use illicit drugs, but I'd consider myself an advocate for psychedelic research. Don't really care to filter everything I say through lawyers and PR people. Sometimes I say dumb shit, but my video was well researched. I'd obviously rather Mr. Beast just focus on disproving the evidence than trying to publicly destroy my character with baseless drug use and mental health accusations. But it appears that's the only option they have. Also, I literally smoked 500 cigarettes before writing this. Again, to criticize this tweet, you're saying that these people are actively trying to destroy your character by claiming that you have drug use and mental health issues. But the thing is, like, in the beginning of this tweet, you literally said that you microdosed on shrooms for depression and anxiety for a week over 3 months ago, which would be around the same time that you started working at Mr. Beast, if I'm correct. If I'm not, I'll correct myself right now. So again, anybody who is keen-eyed would look at this and be like, maybe you're not being that truthful. Like, sure, your video was well researched, but if the messenger behind it has some holes that people can poke through, you better believe that these people are going to do just that. Luckily, I am still willing to hear your side of this conversation because I really liked the interview you had with oompaville. In that interview, you came across as a lot more genuine, a lot more wired down, ready to actually answer important questions. But these tweets that you're making don't really help you unless it's your goal to have like some gotcha moment saying like, ha, I planted these things in these fucking messages so that everybody would look at them and start criticizing me for things that I obviously said as a joke. I'm giving a lot of benefit of the doubt, but honestly, in some cases, you still just don't really help yourself. Somebody then goes on to ask, what about stealing company funds? Probably this. I asked for the gas reimbursements I was promised and was denied because it wasn't an approved business expense. It was, and I should have just taken the plane. I have heard multiple stories from former Mr. Beast employees not getting promised a reimbursement. Anyways, after that, I sent a business expense request for an Apple Vision Pro, which I was told the company wanted to get everyone. This is when they were new and didn't seem like garbage. I sent the request to the wrong person, even though it was the person HR told me to send it to, but it never got purchased, and even if it had, it would have been owned by the company. So I really don't see any legit narrative that I tried to steal company funds, as if I was some embezzling mastermind and not just a dude with a $100 limit on his company card. I don't really know what to make of this here because there's a lot of specifications when it comes to company cards, limits, and reimbursement funds. I've worked for a corporate company before where they gave you a card with funds so that you could buy gas or buy equipment for certain things. I'll just say this much is that if you buy things without reporting it and then you ask to be reimbursed, there could be some potential conflicts there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to add too much into this because, again, I don't really know the specifications behind what he was doing, but again, at least this should answer a couple of questions some people have in regards to that. Moving on from these tweets, something that I want to mention is that I know I'm being very critical of the guy, even though I said I see it from his perspective. The reason being is that he sort of contradicts himself here and there and lets on way too much than he necessarily should. The last thing this individual wants to do is not sort of filter himself. Even if he's this free speech absolutist that thinks he shouldn't be limited by these laws, which I am too, and if he wants to play by his own rules, which I'd love to do in a situation like this as well, unfortunately, he has to play by the rules that were set up before he ever got his foot in the door as a whistleblower, if that's his goal. There's these things that you just sort of have to bend the knee to if you really want to be taken seriously and not be dragged through the mud. Furthermore, I want to clear up one misconception everyone seems to be having, which is the NDA agreement and whistleblower rights. Let's make one thing clear. The illegal lottery, faking signatures for advertising, and game show legality allegations are things that quite literally anyone at any point in time could have gone back and investigated. These are things that people get investigated for all the time. Do you guys remember that Unbox Therapy giveaway scandal way back when? It does not take an insider company man to give information to look at very publicly posted pieces of media to recognize that, maybe this person wasn't being that authentic. If you Google illegal lotteries, fake giveaway influencers, or any keywords along these lines, you will find that random people have exposed other individuals for this type of issue multiple times in the past without being involved in a company or being under an NDA. The cease and desist Dogpack is getting isn't stopping him from being a random individual making claims like that. The cease and desist is to conveniently stop Dogpack from making these claims because he is also disclosing company information alongside them, such as marketing tactics and strategies that very well could be specified in the NDA.
For Halloween this year, Feastables is planning on putting $1 million in a chocolate bar. And they wanted to do a bunch of like scummy marketing and shit. My manager literally said at one point that they wanted to associate buying a Feastables with your dream coming true. So they're pitching ideas like, buy a Feastables, win 10K, buy a Feastables out of a vending machine and the vending machine just starts spitting out money. Buy a Feastables and it has a ticket to Disney World, whatever, right? And I don't want to put a lot of like hearsay into this video. You should just believe the receipts that I'm showing you and not what I'm saying.
So a lot of people are making these crazy claims saying an NDA can't stop people from whistleblowing laws being broken. True, but it doesn't make sense how Dogpack would be protected if the legal stuff was more than likely not a part of the agreement and is stuff that, again, any person could publicly figure out for themselves. Dogpack even said it himself, the illegal lottery, rigging, signatures are all things anyone could have found publicly if they looked hard enough.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak to this. I think him saying, how on earth would you know, is like baiting me into giving confidential information, like breaking my NDA or whatever. Because actually, people think that I broke my NDA, but like 90% of that video is public information, and then like the other 10% is about crimes. It was like, it was pretty decently strategic. I don't think they would have a case, and like I've spoken with lawyers and everything, so.
This means that Dogpack very well could have a hard case to fight on his hands. And this is why, because in multiple points he says, when I was working at Beast, I saw things, heard things, and pushed for things that I didn't agree with. Things that are in regards to marketing, promoting gambling to children, and promoting unhealthy food to children, etc., etc. Some people are going to get this very wrong takeaway from what I'm saying right now. People are going to assume that I'm dick riding and defending Mr. Beast, which is why I'm going to say listen carefully, because I'm going to clarify the issue here. Dogpack could have exposed all of these issues without ever receiving a cease and desist if he simply used as much public information as possible, which he claimed is available and not covered by an NDA. So if he simply just never used his own involvement in Mr. Beast's companies as additional information, none of these issues would have actually occurred. And this is where a major issue lies. Sorry for repeating the word issue so much. Dogpack has a very strong story. He has very compelling and eye-opening information that I am more than willing to hear and even understand as of right now, but he's really shooting himself in the foot in so many steps of this process. I really do respect what Dogpack is trying to do, but because of these misconceptions and lack of care, people are also sort of falsely assuming that Mr. Beast is trying to silence people. What Dogpack did is that he gave Mr. Beast and his legal team a convenient reason, several convenient reasons, considering he just keeps disclosing company information to quote-unquote conveniently silence Dogpack.
I would be shitting myself if I were you.
No, I'm not shitting myself.
Well, you're
because it was 100% expected. It was 100% expected.
Right. I mean,
this also led people to falsely assume that Mr. Beast sent a cease and desist to Nathan's website when that simply wasn't the case. The issue there is that GitHub, the site that hosted their files, took down the uploaded logs because it was against their terms and conditions. You could always argue that Mr. Beast paid them off, but we simply don't know that, so let's not make ludicrous accusations. But anyways, back to the point. In oompaville's interview with Dogpack, Dogpack said that he had more information on Mr. Beast's dishonest business practices, which is what really made me start siding with him more. According to Dogpack, if we are to believe him at face value, Dogpack knows about Mr. Beast misrepresenting what happened in some of his philanthropy projects. He mentions that in one of his projects, curing 1,000 people of their blindness, that Mr. Beast misrepresented how much he actually did in regards to helping those people, all to market himself, when the reality is that Mr. Beast just paid specifically for people that had cheap surgeries lined up anyways, and mostly just expedited the process. I'll just show you the clip so that you can understand for yourself.
okay.
And I've received DMs from people who I have verified as Mr. Beast employees, claiming different ways in which they're sort of fluffed up, you know? And it's sort of a controlled narrative. Like, I'll give one example, which is a DM I received about somebody saying that when he healed 1,000 blind people, many of those people were going to get the surgery for cheap or for free regardless.
Okay.
And he maybe like expedited the process or something.
So,
but then he sort of claims full credit for it.
If all of this is true, and if he can actually provide receipts for all of this, then I'm eager to see what else Dogpack has to say. I apologize if I came off as a Mr. Beast glazer, but fact of the matter is that there's a lot of issues when it comes to making claims like these. There's a lot of misconceptions people are making. There's a lot of he said, she said, and hearsay, and I want everyone to be more authentic about it, including Dogpack. I never really liked Mr. Beast. I have never watched his content or have been a fan of him, but I always did respect the efforts he made for other people in need. And if it turns out that a lot of these projects were actually deceptive, then it puts into question how much of that respect was warranted, if any of it was warranted at all. I was really on the fence about Mr. Beast for the last week because of how much misinformation gets propelled and how much misrepresentation actually occurs, but despite Dogpack's sort of weird and unorthodox methods, even if he is being reckless, I am compelled to hear him out so that we can all piece together this mess of a scandal and walk away from it a lot more knowledgeable. I know I'm going to get hate on this video because of how many other individuals out there are promoting the same information, that Mr. Beast evil and he's silencing people, and to be fair, he very well could be, but I am more eager to look at this from a more skeptical and critical perspective. Because if Mr. Beast truly is like the devil or some bullshit, I want the most damning evidence and authentic presentation possible. So as it stands, I'm sort of on this guy's side, but I would like for him to not leave so many holes open to allow for people like Mr. Beast to undermine his efforts. And with all of that being said, I am not a Mr. Beast dick rider. I am not a Mr. Beast glazer or any of these other fucking synonyms. I just want more authenticity. I want more truth. I want more real journalism, because that's all I really care about at the end of the day. And if anybody takes this video with anything else but that, then I hope you have a great day. And thanks for watching. Go ahead, leave a dislike if you dislike my opinion.